They actually said it. This is huge for the Bears. We have some new reports about another player being added into the mix for the Chicago Bears going forward. Welcome to Bears Digest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dylan Guinzy. Thank you for joining me once again. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. Looks like 67.5% of you have not done so. Be sure to hit that bell to stay up to date on news, rumors, breaking information as it comes to us. So we are here in week 2, going into the Detroit Lions, a massive game for the Chicago Bears. It's going to be a tough one no matter what, but we do have some information that is being released now from Ben Johnson, Declan Doyle, and everything else going forward about the running back room and potential changes and additions that we could see there in terms of snap count, playing time, and everything like that. So we're going to hop right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're starting with this man right here, Kyle Monangai. In the first game, he did not perform up to the ability that we were maybe expecting or the workload that we were technically expecting for Kyle Monangai. He just had one catch for 11 yards, looked pretty good on that 11-yard catch, but he had 0 carries. He had a big old goose egg in the rushing department. And honestly, that is kind of unacceptable in terms of what we're looking at here with DeAndre Swift and his ability. I have said it many, many times this offseason and in the past year, and I kind of got flamed for it, that the Bears needed an addition in the running back room. And they needed to utilize what they had in terms of a first and second down runner. Somebody that's more downhill, is decisive, can nail the holes when they're available to them, and be a better runner on first and second downs. We all know that DeAndre Swift is a very good third down back. He is not an every down back in this league and shouldn't be for this team if we're going to be successful running the football. Kyle Monangai needs more carries, and we're going to get into that in a little bit here in a second and why I think that is going to happen, especially here this week and going forward. But he needs more carries. He is more of that power guy. He's got the vision. He's got that experience in college. That's what he's done. Is run downhill, stay low center of gravity, and get yards that way. We need a guy that can get 3 to 4 yards every time. I saw a stat there, and I saw a tweet that was the average yards to go on third down for the Chicago Bears in the first game of the year was 10.8. So on average, 10.8 yards to go on third down. You're never winning a game that way. You're never being successful as an offense when that is the case. And obviously, penalties had a lot to do with it. Maybe a sack here and there. We only took 2 of them. But penalties were definitely a factor there. But mainly, it was the running game, and we weren't able to get it going early on in the early downs. We were getting stuffed in the backfield or maybe a 1-yard gain at most on first and second down. And then later on in the game, you saw us trying to throw it 3 straight times on the start of possessions and the start of drives. That's why we saw the offense stall out. And why there was a lot of 3 and outs. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than that. But overall, a big piece of the lack of success was the early down running game not being there. So what I want to get to here is what Ben Johnson had to say in the press conference here today. This was actually yesterday. He said, Monangai, yeah, I need to call more runs. We were probably under 20 for called runs in the game, so I need to call more so we can get him, Kyle, in the game more. So even Ben's starting to see it already that maybe the DeAndre Swift every down running back experience is probably coming to an end. I said before that we needed to make additions. We saw somebody like Tank Bigsby, who is a perfect downhill runner option, get traded to the Eagles. This is what good teams do. They go trade better players, or they go trade for good players even when they have, good guys at that position already or guys that they feel comfortable with. They have Saquon Barkley. Who needs Tank Bigsby? Well, Howie Roseman and the Eagles felt like it was necessary to get some more depth there and get some guys that do have talent that if they needed to come in a pinch, then they can. Or if Saquon goes down, they got guys. So the Bears need to be a lot better at that, and they didn't make any additions. So now we're kind of stuck with what we have in the running back room. And if that is the case, we need to get Kyle Monangai more carries. If that means getting Roschon some more carries when he's back to full health too, whatever, go do it. I like Kyle better than Roschon. Both of them are probably not the best options that you could have. But I think Kyle, being a rookie and being fresh and them trusting him so much, I think it's important for them to get him in the game and get him at least 7 to 8 carries this week. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think they need to see what they have out of him and see if there is a difference there with him and DeAndre in their vision, and what that looks like going forward. But to get this run game going, we have to be way more efficient. We need to see the holes better. The blocking is opening up holes, and it's only going to get better as we go forward in the coming weeks as the O-line meshes more well, and they have chemistry as well going forward. So Kyle Monangai should be getting some more carries. Here's Declan Doyle as well early on here today in his press conference. He said Kyle is a guy that we look at every time we ask him to do something. He does it to the best of his ability. We can do better at getting him more involved going forward. So again, further reiterates it. The whole staff is kind of realizing that this is probably an option in a way that they should move forward here with the run game. Getting Kyle Monangai to come in, split some reps, split some carries with DeAndre Swift. I don't expect Kyle to be in there on third downs. We don't necessarily need that. DeAndre Swift is great on third downs. He can catch passes. He's athletic out of the backfield, different things like that. But the first and second downs, when teams know that you're, a higher percentage chance of you running the football, he's not very good at that. He's not very good at the stack boxes. He's not going to run over everybody. And as I mentioned before the game on Monday night, DeAndre was one of the keys to the game. Him being successful was one of the keys to winning the football game, and he wasn't. The other key was Caleb Williams, and he wasn't perfect either in the second half, and we lost. So having a better run game to set up play action passes where people aren't just sitting back in coverage on second and third down, and it's second and third and long every time, you're never going to be successful in the NFL. And so that needs to be better. And I think Ben realizes that fast. This is something that our coaches in the past, such as Matt Eberflus, didn't have a grasp on. This is not something that was his expertise and something that he was able to go modify and change every week. It was kind of up to the offensive coordinator and what they thought. And obviously that wasn't good enough either. Now, Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle are in lockstep together. They all have the same, philosophy and thoughts. So based on what these two are saying here, I think that Kyle Monangai is going to get some more reps going forward, and that should be the case for a more successful running game. I can't believe they actually said it coming out in the press conference, but it's good that they did. I love how we have clarity from these coaches. Now we'll see if they put that into action in this week's game against Detroit, and I can't wait to see what he can do in the running game. This is our options. We haven't added or traded for anybody, and it doesn't look like we're doing that going forward in the running back room. So we have what we have, and it's DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson, and Kyle Monangai. And Kyle Monangai is running back 2 right now, so we need to get him some carries. I need him to get upwards of 10 carries this week, or somewhere around there. We'll see how the game script goes and how all that goes, but I want to see that. I want to see him run. I feel like he is a better ball carrier than DeAndre Swift, and I just want to see how that goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining another Bears Digest video. We will see what Kyle Monangai looks like this week and what it looks like going forward for this team. And, as always, bear down.